Hello everyone, welcome to the video. In this video, let's discuss about AWS data pipeline. So before moving into the video, let's see what are the components or what are the topics which we are going to cover in this video. So firstly, what is AWS data pipeline? Key features, how the AWS data pipeline works, core components and terminologies of AWS data pipeline, architecture, use cases, and how the pricing works for the AWS data pipeline, and what are the pros and cons of pipeline. So firstly, what is AWS data pipeline? The AWS data pipeline is a web service for the automating the movement and transformation of data between AWS services and on-premises data sources. The data pipeline will helps manage the workflow of the data driven task and making it easier to process and transfer the data efficiently at the defined intervals. It will help to move the data uh, between the different storage and computer service. Think of AWS data pipeline as a delivery service for your data. So it will help move your data from one place like a storage box in Amazon S3 to another like workstation in a AWS EC2 instance. Where it can be processed and or analyzed. So it automates this process. You don't have to do it manually. What are the core functions? It help to move the data between the different storage and computer services and schedule the data processing task. Just like setting timer for your copy machine. AWS data pipeline allows you to set a schedule for the data task. For example, you can tell process your data every night at midnight or once in a week. So this will ensure your data is always up to date without needing to remember to start the process. And also it handles the dependencies and error handling. So some data tasks need to wait for the another to finish first. The AWS data pipeline ensure these tasks happen in the right order. So if something goes wrong, like a missing data or failed process, so it is automatically tries to fix it, fix the problem, or it will alert you. The workflow can continue smoothly. Now let's see what are the key features of data pipeline. Firstly, data movement. It automates the data transfer between AWS services like S3, RDS, DynamoDB, EMR, or etc. So AWS data pipeline act like a conveyor belt that automatically move data between different AWS services like S3 for the storage, RDS for the database, DynamoDB for the NoSQL database, and EMR for the data processing. You don't need to manually transfer the data, it will do it for you. And secondly, scheduling. A scheduled task with a time-based or event-driven triggers. So it's like a setting an alarm clock for your task. So you can schedule data jobs to run at a specific time. And third one is scalability. It automatically scale to handle every workloads. So AWS data pipeline grows with your workload. Whether you're handling a small amount of data or a massive amount, it will automatically adjust adjust the resources to ensure everything runs smoothly. And the fourth one is a fault tolerance, retry logic, failure notification, and error handling. So, if something goes wrong, like a failed task, the AWS data pipeline has built an retry logic to fix it automatically. So, if the issues persist, it will notify you. And the fifth one is monitoring and logging. Integrate with the Amazon CloudWatch for monitoring. So, you can monitor the data pipeline process with the help of the Amazon CloudWatch. And the sixth one is security. So it will provide the IAM role based access control and encryption for your encryption for the data security. So it use the IAM role based access control to protect and by encrypting. And lastly, flexibility. So it support customer script and third party tools. So you are not limited to the predefined task. You can use your own custom script or even integrated with the third-party tools. It will give you full control over how your data is processed and moved. Now let's discuss how the AWS data pipeline works. So firstly, you need to define a pipeline. So create a pipeline specifying data resources, destinations, and activities. So firstly, the data pipeline is like a blueprint for your data workflow. So you tell data AWS data pipeline. So where your data is coming from, example like S3, and you need to specify where it needs to go. So and what needs to be done along with the way. And second thing is schedule task. So define schedules for data processing and movement. So you need to set a schedule for when this task should happens. For example, you might uh, want your data processed every night at the midnight or triggered whenever new data arrives. And the third thing is manage dependencies. The AWS data pipeline handles task dependencies automatically. The AWS data pipeline ensure task happens in the right orders. So for instance, if a task B depends on task A, so being complete fast, it will automatically wait until task A is done. So before starting the task B. And third one is execution. So the pipeline runs activities using AWS services like EC2 instance, EMR, or etc. So once the pipeline is set up, so the AWS data pipeline runs your task using the AWS services like EC2 instance or EMR, and it handles all the heavy lifting for you. And lastly, monitoring. So monitor pipeline execution via the AWS Management Console or CloudWatch. So while your pipeline is running, so you can check its process using the AWS Management Console or Amazon CloudWatch. So if something goes wrong, so you will get alerts or logs to help troubleshoot the issue. So this will make it easy to ensure everything is working as expected. Let's see what are the core components of AWS data pipeline. So firstly, pipeline. So pipeline, the overall workflow definition. So the pipeline is like a master plan or roadmap. So it defines the entire workflow, so including where the data come from, what needs to happen, and where it goes. And second thing is activity. So a task to be performed. So example like a data copy or data transformation. So activities are individual tasks in the pipelines. For example, copying the data uh, from the one place to another, or transferring from the one place to another place. Example like converting a file format, or summarizing the data like that. And so third thing is data nodes. So represent data locations. Example like S3 buckets or RDS tables. So it will help to schedule control when the task runs. So these can be based on the times, or triggered by the specific events. And the fifth one is preconditions. So condition that must be met before executing task. So the data pipeline ensure the specific condition are met before the task start. For example, precondition might check if input data is ready before running processing activity. And lastly, resources. AWS computer resource, example like EC2 instance or EMR cluster. So resources are AWS tools and services the pipeline used to complete the task. For example, EC2 instance or EMR cluster provide the computing power needed to run the activity. Uh, this is the architecture of the AWS data pipeline. So in the here you can see this is the Amazon EC2 instance. So this is where your application or system generate log files or other data. So it could be a server running applications that create these files daily. So here the AWS data pipeline trigger daily task to copy the log files from the EC2 instance to the Amazon S3 bucket. So the S3 bucket is used for storing the data securely and durably. So the Amazon bucket is a storage layer. So all the data from the EC2 instance, so files the data like log files like that. So it is collected and stored here. So after collecting the data, it will launch the data analysis using the Amazon EMR. So the AWS data pipeline triggers a weekly task to process the stored data in the S3. So this is by it does this by launching an EMR job. So the Amazon EMR is a big data processing service provided by the AWS. So it will analyze the data from the S3 using the tools like Hadoop or Spark. So it will use the tools like Hadoop or Spark to analyze the data which are collected from the Amazon S3. So this is how the AWS data pipeline works. Now let's see what are the use cases of the AWS data pipeline. So firstly, ETL. So ETL stands for extract, transfer, loads, workflows. So the AWS data pipelines help to moving and processing the data from one place to another place. For example, you have a sales data in a different formats spreadsheet across the multiple location. So the with the help of the AWS data pipeline, so you can extract the raw data from the multiple resources like databases or logs, and you can transfer it. And secondly, data backup and archiving. So it automatically save and store the data securely over a time. So for example, like imagine you have a daily customer transaction logs. So the AWS data pipeline copy the logs from your server to the Amazon S3 for secure storage. So this will act as a backup or long-term archive for the compliance or the future reference. And third thing is log file processing. So it will analyze and extract the useful information from the system logs. So if your application generate a large logs files daily, so the AWS data pipeline can move these logs to the Amazon S3. Then it can trigger a job. So to process the logs or extract the insights. And the third thing is data migration. So the data migration means it helps to moving a data from one storage or system to another. So if you are switching from on-premises database to the cloud, so the AWS data pipeline can automate the moving data from your world database to the Amazon RDS or the Amazon Redshift. So it ensure the migration happens efficiently and securely. And the fifth thing is periodic data reporting. So it is automatically prepare and share the reports based on the data. So if you generate weekly sales reports on the AWS data pipeline can collect the raw sales data, and it process it, and it will prepare the summary files. So it can then store the reports in the Amazon S3 for access, or email them to the stakeholder. And lastly, analytics pipelines. So it will set up a workflow for the big data analysis. If you want to analyze the customer behavior, then the AWS data pipeline can collect the data from the various sources like website logs. So it can send this data to the Amazon Redshift, or the process it with the Amazon EMR for the deep analysis. Now let's see how prices are applied for the AWS data pipeline. So in the data pipeline, there is no feature like no free tier. So prices are based on the number of pipeline tasks. So when it comes to the on-demanding pricing, if you use a low frequency pipelines, so they will charge you $0.60 per pipeline or per month. If you use high frequency more than once a day, so the AWS will charge you to $1 per pipeline or the per month. So when comes to the additional cost, you need to pay for the compute resources like EC2 or EMR for analyzing the data, and you need to pay for the data transfer fees also. When comes to the optimization tips, so you need to use a spot instance, or you need to use the efficient scheduling and optimize the resources for the cost optimization.